In the name of Allah, the Rahman and the Rahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. It's class of History of English Literature, and today we are taking lecture on pioneer novelist. Okay, on the pioneer novelist we are taking lecture. That is, in today's discussion, we will discuss on Samuel Richardson as a novelist. As we know that as a whole he wrote 3 novels. Samuel Richardson contributed a lot to the writing of novel, to the genre of novel in 18th century. Samuel Richardson, he was born in 1689 and he was died in 1761. He is an Englishman and English author. He is best known for his novels. Like he is known for his Pamela, which was written by him in 1740s, and Clarissa, it was written by him in 1748. Okay, it was followed by, it means that Clarissa was followed by Pamela. Pamela is his first work. Okay, it's novel. They are like they both, Pamela and Clarissa, they are among the first English novels and written in the form of letters. We will explain that how they were written in the forms of letter. They contain elements and messages regarding the importance of sexual morals. They were very famous at the time of publication. Like in 18th century, there was no novel writing. It was a new concept. So that's why they both were very famous at the time of publication. Now, what is the contribution of Samuel Richardson to the history, to the English literature? Yes, it's obvious. The most important contribution of Richardson was to the development of novel. He developed, like English novel was, in true sense, developed in the hands of Samuel Richardson. He is the true contributor to the English novel, in fact, to the English literature. He took non-exceptional problems of daily conduct, of daily life, like he took lessons from the daily life, from the routine life, and he wrote, he merged those elements or those problems. He discussed those problems in his novels. Like he took the relationship of men and women in society in the 18th century, that what was the relation of men with women. Okay, so he discussed the both sides, the male as well as the female. Okay, both genders are his subject of novel writing. The issues in class and caste in 18th century. Yes, it was a very important discussion. Discussion was always made on these two, like the issue of class and caste in the 18th century, like the upper class people and the lower class people. So he discussed the both sides, the upper and the lower, the upper strata and the lower strata. Okay, the caste, like Englishmen versus like others apart from English. So he took both of the elements. Like the issues in class and caste in the 18th century, Samuel Richardson contributed a lot to the English literature. He took materials from life as he observed life from his childhood to youth as a member of a working class. Yes, what was observed by him? So the whole scenario which was reflected to him or observed by him, he recorded in his novels. One critic says about him, almost rabid concern for the details of life. Like too much detail is provided by him in his novels regarding the 18th century. Monarchies. of ordinary life in order to reflect. Minutia means the detail, the small detail of something, the small detail of ordinary life, of daily life. In order, he provided like the small details of ordinary life in order to reflect reality which was lacked in prior prose. Yes, before like Samuel Richardson, like 18th century, there was an age of prose. Okay, so there was lack in prose regarding the reality of life. Ordinary life was not touched by the writer, by the prose writers. Samuel Richardson is considered as a father of English novel. Why? Because he set the wake, the fashion of novel with Pamela writing. He started that very fashion of novel writing with the writing of his first novel, Pamela. It was in epistolary manner, like we have discussed that he wrote all his novel in letter writings. Okay, so these novels were in epistolary manner. Epistolary manner means in the form of letters. Okay, it means that letters were written by the characters and sent by the characters to other characters. So through this way, through like this manner, through this instrument, like the writing of epistolary letters, the plots of the novels move on. It took England by storm, yes, with the publication of the Pamela. So Storm was created by Pamela publication in England. People, they were interested, they took interest in the reading of novel because it was regarding the common man issues, daily life, routine life was discussed, the like related routines of the common man was discussed in that very novels. So that's why all of the people, upper strata and lower strata, both were interested in the writing of novel. So it created storm, like a storm, like crowd was created by the publication of the novels. His second novel is Clarissa. Yes, it was written in 1747 to, like it took 2 years. Like the publication of Clarissa, his second novel, took 2 years in publication. It is in 8 volumes. Yes, the second is it means that it's very bulky. Okay, in nature, it's very bulky. It in writing, because it is consisting of 8 volumes. It's a great book. It was again in epistolary kind. Yes, it was again in the form of letters. Richardson's third and last novel was Sir Charles Grandison. So as a whole, we have discussed that he wrote 3 novels. This is the last in the third novel of the writer, of the same writer. It was written in 1748. 1748, after 8 years, after 6 years, okay, he published that very novel. Now, Richardson, good qualities, is a novelist. What makes him a great novelist, a father of novel, a father of English novel? His tremendous knowledge of humans. Yes, he was a man who got enough knowledge regarding humans, regarding human characters. He was highly versed in female psychology. Being a male, he got enough knowledge regarding females. Like most of the novels of Richardson are regarding the female characters. So he discussed, he was a male, bisex, but he discussed a lot about female. He knew human psychology and particular female psychology. He was well aware of the sentimental and emotional problems of common men. Yes, he discussed, like he clothes to the sentiment of common men, to the emotions of common men. He pictured common men emotions and sentiments in his novels. He merged realistic elements in novel writing. Yes, before him there was no concept of realistic elements in the writings. Now, there are some of the defects in Samuel Richardson. Yes, it's very true that we all have weaknesses, and we have strength and we have weaknesses because we are a human being. So, likewise, defects are there in Samuel Richardson's. It's noted by the critics. One of the great defects of Richardson novel is today's concerned, as it is noticeable today's, his novels are very bulky in nature. Okay, the very length of his novels is the defect of his writing. His novels are too lengthy. That's why they become boring for the readers. While whenever readers they are reading his novels, so by the bulkiness, these novels become very boring for the readers. It is owing to why these are very bulky or why these are very lengthy novel. It is owing to the epistolary technique he followed in all his novels. Due to this technique, his novels are very bulky in nature. Okay, Pamela, his first novel. Okay, it was published in 1740s or 1741. Pamela are virtue rewarded. It's another name. Remember, please. First modern novel it is considered. It tells the trial, tribulation, and the final happy marriage of a young girl, of a Pamela. Okay, of a Pamela, marriage with Mr. B. It is written in the form of familiar letters. Yes, it's clear. How to think prudently, the common concern of human life. Like how people, how common men, how they are thinking. What are the thinking of the common men and what are the thinking of the elite class men. It is sentimental and boring owing to too much details. Yes, the sentiments, the emotions of the common men of a young lady is recorded by the writer, by the novelist, but as well as it's very boring because of the too much details he provided. Richardson is a psychologist. Yes, he is considered a true psychologist because he was well aware of the human psychology and in particular of the female psychology. In all history novels, there is dilatory and repetitive, and that adds to the bulkiness of his novels. Like repetitive means when things are repeatedly occurring, okay, when things are like again and again, we are discussing the same thing repeatedly, so it means it is called repetitive. So these novels are repetitive, like too much detail is there. So that very detail, that very repetitiveness added to the bulkiness of his novels. That's why his novels are bulky, because too much detail in letters we are giving the reference of the previous letters and then we are writing the matter. Okay, so that's why too much detail is recorded or given or provided by the novelist. However, above all, he is considered a very good psychologist, and he is particularly admired for this psychological and realistic elements which he brought to the writing of novel. Yes, these are the two factors, are the two elements appreciated by the critics, appreciated by the readers, and appreciated by the other writers of the same age. He was appreciated by his fellows Henry Fieldings also appreciated him, that he is considered a great novelist. Pamela are virtue rewarded, some of the merits are there regarding this novel. Merits lies of that it was the first novel of its kind. Yes, that novel, Pamela, was the first novel of its kind. It told it told the story of a young lady, okay, in a realistic manner, in inner life story of a young girl. It told the realistic story of inner life of a young girl. Its psychological approach made it the first novel in England. Richardson here gives too much importance to the middle class life. Pamela is epistolary novel. It's about the conduct of marriage of 15 years old maidservant named Pamela Andrews. Yes, Pamela Andrews is the full name of Pamela. It is in series of familiar letters are there. Yes, we have discussed. It is the story of two families. One character is from very poor family, and that is working class family, and the other is from elite class. Like we have discussed that Richardson has that very quality, that he is comparing, making contrast and compare between the characters. He is taking men and women as well as upper strata and lower strata in concern while writing novels. Clarissa are the story of a young lady. Like we have Pamela, another name of Pamela is the virtue rewarded. Okay, virtue rewarded. Clarissa, the second name for Clarissa is the story of a young lady. Unlike Pamela, Clarissa did not have its origins in real life. It's not like regarding the real life. Characters in Clarissa are entirely creatures of fantasy. Yes, imaginative characters are there. It has no relation with the real life situations. This novel was commenced in summer or spring of 1744. He devoted, like Richardson devoted, a year to the publication of this novel. Effective use of contrastive analysis is there in this second novel. His third novel, Sir Grandison. There is disagreement among the critics regarding this novel, that some of them having the opinion that Sir Grandison is the masterpiece of Richardson. Like it's the very great novel of Richardson. The masterpiece is considered by some of the critics, but some are seeing that it is the least important work of Richardson. Like it is the least successful work of Richardson among others. The main concern of this is with English upper class. Yes, English upper class is discussed in this novel. Now, some of the themes in Richardson novels. The nature of virtue is there. It is one of the themes, the nature of virtues. He defined virtue, Niki, okay, very narrowly and negatively. Okay, so his approach regarding virtue is very narrow and is very negative. The integrity of the individual, class, politics, middle class is there, psychology in the self. Okay, in composing Pamela, Richardson wanted to explore human psychology. No one did this before. Yes, he explored for the first time human psychology. Hypocrisy and self-knowledge is there. It's also one of the important themes of Richardson novel. Realism in country life, simple and rustic life, like the life of the village, the life of the common people, the life of the middle class people is recorded by him in his novel. Human psychology, female psychology in particular, is taken by Richardson. So dear students, we have discussed some of the points regarding the Samuel Richardson novel writing, that he is considered the first novelist of English, okay, in English literature, in the history of English literature. As a whole, he wrote 3 novels. Pamela are virtually rewarded. The second is Clarissa, or the story of the young lady. And the third one is Sir Charles Grandison. It was his last work. It was written in 1754. So it's all about Richardson in a novelist. You can explore by your own. My words are not the final words. Dear students, work by your own. So search these things and explore English novels and novelist. We will discuss another important novelist, Henry Fielding, in our next class. Please wait for the next class. Be active and be happy. Best of luck. Thank you. If you have any question, you can ask me. You are welcome. Assalamu alaikum.